I arrived early because that's what you do when you don't want to be in the way later. Early enough to be useful, late enough not to be asked to help set chairs. I'd learned the rhythm of these things. Weddings have their own weather, busy, bright, a little merciless, and I moved through it like someone checking the temperature with the back of their hand. The venue was prettier than I expected. White linens, eucalyptus, light spilling in from tall windows. Everyone looked like they belonged exactly where they were standing. I set my coat over my arm and found my name on the list taped near the entrance. I wasn't surprised it wasn't there. I never am. "Hi," she said, already smiling before she saw me fully. My brother's fiancée had that kind of smile, preloaded. "You made it." I said something neutral. I always do. I handed over the gift, heavy in its paper, tied with a ribbon I'd chosen carefully because choosing carefully was the only way I knew how to love people. "Oh," she said, glancing around. "So, your seat is over there." She gestured toward the kitchen doors, where the catering staff moved in and out, efficient and invisible. Against the wall was a folding chair. Metal legs, plastic seat. No place card. "It's just for plus ones," she added quickly, as if that explained the weather. "You know how it is." I did know how it was. I nodded because nodding had become muscle memory. I thanked her because gratitude had been trained into me early, a reflex like flinching. I walked toward the chair. Halfway there, I stopped, not because I meant to, but because something in me needed a second to catch up. I looked around. Every table was full. Assigned seats. Small tinted cards with names in looping script. Cousins I hadn't seen in years. Old friends. People whose partners were introduced with pride, whose presence was assumed. Even my ex, seated comfortably near the front, laughing with someone new, a glass already sweating beside their plate. I wasn't embarrassed. Not yet. Embarrassment requires surprise. This felt older than that. The chair waited by the kitchen, angled slightly away from the room, as if it knew it didn't belong either. I thought about other kitchens. Other edges. Holidays where I'd hovered, helpful and quiet. Dinners where my role was to adapt, to make it easier, to not complicate things. The family story had always been that I was independent. Low maintenance. Easy. I'd mistaken that for a compliment. I sat down. The chair creaked. The kitchen smelled like lemon and heat. A server brushed past me without apology, and I realized no one would notice if I stayed there the entire ceremony. That was the point. I watched people settle. Music started to test itself in the air. The officiant checked his notes. Everything moved forward without me. Something shifted, not sharply, not dramatically, more like a joint finally aligning after years of being slightly off. I stood. I picked up the gift. It surprised me how heavy it felt once I committed to lifting it, how solid. How real. I hadn't bought it to make a point. I'd bought it because it mattered to me to show up well, even when I wasn't sure I'd be met the same way. I walked toward the exit. No rush, no announcement. "Hey," my brother said, jogging up behind me. "Where are you going?" I turned. I could hear the room behind him, chairs shifting, the small anticipatory hush that comes before something begins. A few heads turned, not many, enough. "They said the chair was just for plus ones," I said. My voice didn't shake. That surprised me. "So I'm going." He looked past me, then back. "Come on, don't do this right now." I held up the gift, just slightly. Not like a threat, like a fact. "Plus one this." It wasn't clever. It wasn't meant to be. It was the clearest sentence I had. He ran a hand through his hair. His smile, the one he used to smooth things over, flickered and failed. "We can fix it. I'll grab another chair. I'll talk to her." "Fixing it would have been not putting me there," I said. Quiet. Steady. "This is fixing it now." Behind him, the officiant had stopped moving. Someone coughed. The pause spread outward, visible. Authority arrived not as a person, but as attention. The ceremony couldn't proceed while this was happening. Everyone could see that something had gone wrong. "You're overreacting," he said, lowering his voice. "Please, just sit. For me." There it was, family loyalty, asking for silence. Again, I thought about how often, for me, had meant, your expense. I thought about how staying would feel later, replayed in my body. The kitchen chair, the angle of it, the way no one would remember it except me. I love you, I said. That part was true, but I'm not doing this anymore. I stepped back. He didn't follow this time. He stood there, caught between the room and me, and for the first time I saw that he didn't know how to choose. I left. Outside, the air was cooler. The sound of the door closing was soft, almost polite. I stood there for a moment with the gift in my hands, feeling the absence where a seat would have been. I didn't feel victorious, I felt upright. Later, my phone filled unevenly. Messages arrived in clusters, then gaps. Some people apologized, some asked what had happened, as if it were a mystery. A few didn't reach out at all. I noticed who used my name and who didn't. The gift stayed with me. I didn't return it, I didn't give it away. It sits in my closet now. A reminder that sometimes the line you draw isn't loud, but it is final. My brother and I talk, carefully. Something has changed shape between us. It may never fit the way it used to. I don't know yet. What I do know is this: I will never take the chair by the kitchen again. And if that means missing a few ceremonies, so be it. Some absences say exactly what needs to be said.